Deborah and James used to babysit their grandchildren almost every weekend, as well as any time that Stephanie and Bear went on vacation. But that all stopped after Stephanie claimed her daughter started acting out. And eventually the child told her that James had snuck into her room and inappropriately touched her. Deborah claims James would never do such a thing and that Stephanie is either making this up or coaching her daughter to say this. Take a look.
My husband James is being accused of molestation, and he didn't do this. He's never touched my grandchild. He loved them grandchildren. He took them everywhere. He answered every call that they made to go get them. When they were upset and they were arguing, he would always be there for them. I first heard about this from my daughter Stephanie. She started accusing my husband of messing with my grandchild once before this ever come about, and actually my grandchild stood right there on the back porch and put her hands on her hips and said, "I didn't say that." And when this come up again, it made me feel like somebody had taken a knife and stuck it in my heart and stuck it in his back. And it's been awful. I actually believe that she might have been coached into this, but I know it's not my husband. He's already talked to the authorities. He's taken a lie detector test. He's passed it, and she will not let it go. She won't let it go, and it's time to let it go.
What happened that you believed your daughter was being sexually molested?
Well, my mother was correct. Every other weekend, they would go spend the night with her. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, she would be like, "I don't want to be there. I don't want to go there, Mommy." And she would go, stay the day with them. But as soon as the sun fell down, my mother was on the back porch one day, and I had let my daughter take her cell phone with her, and she called me crying, locked herself in the bedroom, and said, "Mommy, please come get me. Please come save me." Well, that night, my daughter made herself so sick, Steve, that she puked all night, so my mother would not leave her side. I started thinking to myself, well, something's going on. This is a cry for help, and I don't know who did it. I'm not accusing him. I wasn't accusing her. I'm trying to figure out what is wrong with my daughter. And I was like, did somebody tell you that if you spoke, something would happen? And she said, yes. And I said, okay. I said, did it happen at Granny and Papa's house? And she said, yes. She goes, James snuck into my room and was rubbing my back, my chest, and was kissing my cheek. As soon as I heard that, me and my husband immediately went to the police station. The police station tells me there's...
So you took that and you leapt to, your mind leapt to that she was being sexually molested.
Oh no, it gets worse.
Okay.
Okay, so I go down to the police station, and they said, there's nothing we can do about a family member kissing and rubbing on somebody else's chest and back. So it's driving me crazy, Steve. It's literally driving me crazy. So I finally go in there to and I'm like, what happened? And she said, well, the night that he was rubbing and kissing on me and stuff, he went lower. And I said, what do you mean lower? And she said he went and he was. And then I said, was it under above it or under it? And she said, under it, Mommy.
After these accusations where she tells you that he touched her, in her private area, did you go to the police?
I went to the police station. I went to DCF. I went to the children's house. She was sexually examined. I wanted to know how far it had went.
And what happened?
The police told me there wasn't enough evidence because they would not believe a little girl without evidence.
I find that very odd.
Ew. I have all the police reports. Believe me, it was
No, I'm
very
saying,
odd.
I would think that
You
the
want to
very
hear
least.
something odder? The
Yes.
investigator, he was his friend.
Well, okay, so that makes sense if that's true.
Oh, yes, it is true.
Okay, what I want to do is, before I bring James out, I'm going to ask you to leave the stage.
That's the best
and then
idea.
okay.
But I love that girl. I love my stepdaughter. I love all of
Your
them.
granddaughter.
My granddaughter and my stepdaughter.
Did you go in the room and?
I did go in the room. She got up the night they're talking about. She come to my bedroom. I took her back. She was having a nightmare. I took her back. I rubbed her shoulder. I kissed her on the cheek. I tucked her in. That's all I did. I went back to bed.
Okay. Did you ever touch the little girl inappropriately?
Never. Not even bathing her.
Okay. Now she says that the police brushed it off because you're friends with the lead investigator.
I've never met that detective in my life before that day. I swear to that.
Okay. Let's bring Stephanie back out.
You want to talk about I coached my kids?
You
I didn't
talked to her.
coach
They told you
crap.
to stop. The police told you
The
to stop.
police told me to stop
You have them in
asking
the
my
middle of
daughter
Walmart parking
questions.
lot.
That's my daughter.
You don't
I
talk to a
got
child
every
about
right
that.
to ask
No,
my
you do
daughter
not.
what happened
You're
to
not
her.
qualified. You're not
You
qualified.
took her innocence.
I did not touch your child.
Go talking about.
Right there, you know dadgum good and
You
well.
better just
I
shut
love
your
you.
mouth
Tell
before
me
I
what
take
do.
you to
I'm
bars.
your mother.
If your husband were to fail this lie detector test, because we know he took one and he passed it.
Yes, sir.
But if he were to fail this one,
If he would have failed this one,
Yeah, and you
it's
turned
over.
It's
you
over.
turned
It's
your
over.
back on your granddaughter and daughter.
I'm
when
not
she
no child
cried to
molester. I
your
haven't failed no
face
test.
And told you he did it.
Stephanie, your husband Bear.
I'm so happy I see you because you are the first person that needs to take off
You
this
don't
stage.
know nothing about anything.
I don't know nothing about anything.
That's
You
right.
took my daughter's
I touched
innocence.
your child. She ain't been touched by nobody.
Oh yeah, then why does her story
Right
stay
back
the
there.
same?
Right back there is the reason.
Right back there's
You
the
read
reason.
the police report?
Yeah,
Didn't it
I
tell
read
she
the
was-
police report.
And the police told you and nothing happened, that your daughter exactly
You
what the police
were
said.
at
Yeah,
work.
they told me that.
The
When you were
investigators
at
told y'all
work,
that.
James, I took my daughter out to your house and she cried to my mother and told her.
The
Yes,
same
who taught her?
thing.
Who taught her how to do that?
Do you believe, Bear, that James inappropriately touched your daughter?
I do. There's no reason that.
Tell you this?
Yes.
She told you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Without Stephanie around.
Without Stephanie around, whenever I was driving her to her art therapy that she was in, my daughter just suddenly out of the blue starts having night terrors. Suddenly out of the blue doesn't want to go over to Granny and Papa's
Oh,
house
that is
anymore.
not true, buddy.
It is
She
That
has
is
never
not
wanted to
true,
spend the night
buddy.
like the other one
Your
has.
daughter had problems a lot of times before that.
Is there any chance that your wife is drilling this in your daughter's head?
No.
No. James came here
Yes, Darren, and pretty good.
and took a lie detector test. Did you touch her in a sexual manner? He answered no. Did you ever have physical contact with Stephanie's daughter for your own sexual gratification or pleasure?
Prison.
He answered no. The results came back the same to each question. And it came back that James told the truth.
You promised me. Get out of my face. I told y'all. And you slandered my ass on TV.
No.
Goodbye.
No.
You're all dead to me.
What concerns me is the fact that he's telling the truth, you're telling the truth, that maybe somebody did do something and she's confused. And if something did happen to her, you need to refocus and find out who did do it.
There's obviously been some serious damage, right?
She told me.
I hope. Show's over.
Yep, show's over.
Show's over.
That's fine.
You got to forgive.
I
the way
hope
it
that
is.
everybody forgives.
I will shake your hand.
I'm not going to forget,
But
but I'm
you
going to forgive.
slandered me on TV. You can go hell.
All right, thanks for coming on. I'm glad you got answers. Thanks, sir.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming
Thank
on.
you.
Thank you. Thanks, man.